Welcome to Before the Score, episode 8. Today is our Super Bowl special, and we're also going to make our picks for the NFL Honors Awards, which includes MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, everything about that. Before we get into that, we have to touch on a death that shocked the sports world and rocked it to its core, and that's the death of Kobe Bryant. And I just wanted to get everybody's thoughts on their best Kobe Bryant memories before we get into this show.
Well, what comes to mind, like we all grew up watching Kobe. I mean, that was the player. Before LeBron James, when we were really younger, Kobe was the guy. You know, so everyone, Lakers, such a big franchise from Los Angeles. Kobe's the main face. So just watching him as I grew up and seeing his career. But my best memory has to be his last game. I remember watching it as a freshman in college, and just wanted to watch it just to see, like, if he scores 20 points, hits a couple shots, it's cool and everything. And it'd be a nice way to go out, have a nice speech and everything. But he performed one of his best games of his career, like in his final game, which was insane. He hits like a clutch three in the left corner. He did like a step dribble and shot, and it was just an insane game from him. Obviously, it's heartbreaking to see what happened to his family and the other families involved. Prayers to them. Such a tragic time. Just an awful, awful thing. It just shocked me. Like thinking about it, like we haven't seen like a death like this. Like there has never been. Like the one that comes to mind, which is not sports related, but like where I remember where I was when someone died was Michael Jackson. That was like the last death where it shocked the world to me. And like Kobe, like I'll always remember where I was, like how I felt. It was just terrible, terrible thing to say.
Yeah, this news definitely took me back, and I had to stop everything I was doing for a couple hours, honestly, and just reflect and just the thoughts. And then when you heard the news about his daughter as well, tears started coming. It was just very sad. And I'll choose to remember Kobe first as the player, the tenacious defender, the shot maker. The man could not be stopped on offense. He's probably the best scorer I've seen. I mean, you can argue prime KD or prime Melo, prime Jordan, but
Yeah,
Kobe, man, offense,
right up
defense, the
there.
guy did it all. He taught you how to live your life on the court, off the court. The man, he never took no for an answer. Mamba mentality. If I had to pick one thing that really embodies Kobe Bryant, the player and the person, it has to be shooting those free throws after the Achilles injury.
Yeah,
That's my number
yeah.
one for Kobe because he wouldn't give up no matter what. And I love Kobe, man. I'm gonna miss him, and I think it's just sad because you saw how he was gonna move forward women's sports as well
Mm-hmm.
with the WNBA
Yeah.
and Gigi eventually ascending to hopefully a D1 athlete and then maybe even number one pick of the WNBA draft, the Mambasita.
Yep.
It's just such a depressing and heartbreaking piece of news that
And
you got.
and what sucks the most about it, in a way, he was just starting his life. Like
Hmm.
you're seeing everything, the Mamba mentality outside the world of basketball. And he had so many ambitions and goals once he retired. I mean, you saw him won a damn Oscar. Like this guy could do it everything. He put his mind to everything. He is probably one of the most curious people like in our world. Like he wanted to learn about everything. Someone
Hmm.
say, "Oh, read this book." He would read this book in like a week and talk
Hmm.
about it. Like I think Jimmy Kimmel was saying this about Kobe. He gave him a book and like he wanted to discuss it like a week later because he read everything. Kobe just wanted to learn about everything and just be well versed in everything. His This life that he was gonna live for the rest, till he died, non tragically. Um, it would have been amazing to see what he could have done. Like the world was endless with him.
And you can even relate that to him learning Slovenian just to talk trash to Luka Doncic in one game, one
Unbelievable.
coincidence. He was always ready for whatever life presented him.
Well, Steve, there's a lot that you could say about Kobe Bryant, and honestly, I feel worse because of the fact that his daughter was involved and all the other families were involved, and to me that just makes it worse. It's really hard when you talk about a 41-year-old, somebody who we know. I mean, I've never really been the biggest basketball fan, but we all know Kobe Bryant. We all know, in class, in school, we would go to throw that piece of paper away, would chuck it, say Kobe. I mean, there's just so much you can say about this guy, and for the people who never really, admired him on the court or like what he did, on the court, you could definitely admire all the stories that you hear about this guy. How humble he was, how great of a father he was to his daughter Gianna, who ended up passing sadly, and his other three daughters. I mean, he actually just had a daughter like a few months ago,
Yeah, 6 months old.
6 months old, which is it's really sad, Steve. And to be honest, this guy he's had a lot of tribulation and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of upbringing in his life and career. I mean, he grew up. He played an outstanding career. He had his downs. With that whole like controversy around him. With that underage um, relationship or anything. But this guy, not only did he piece together his career, also afterwards he pieced together his life and he became an even better person. And Steve, Andrew, Dan, all I have to say is that this is something that's becoming a little bit too common, especially in sports, or in the celebrity world, that these athletes they just pass away tragically. And I cannot remember the last time I felt this way about an athlete, let alone a person. I mean, the last time we saw this type of athlete, perish in this type of way, I would have to go to my favorite baseball player, Jose Fernandez. I would never forget the day, September 25th, 2016. This guy, even though he was only around in the majors for 3 years, I felt like I had watched him for 10 years. That's
Mhm.
how impactful he was to me. And he just made my love for baseball even more because I just love watching him every day go out and do his thing. And I feel really bad not only for Kobe Bryant, the NBA world, all his friends. I feel bad for Shaq, LeBron, but just to be honest, I just feel bad for the world because this is just such a sad day.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean Kobe Bryant. Obviously, he's had a legendary career, one of the best basketball players of all time. But he's probably the most motivational athlete of our lifetimes that we'll ever see. And it's just a tragic way to go. You never want to see anyone go like that. Everyone, the 9 people involved in that crash, it was heartbreaking. I mean, you never want to see anyone go like that, especially with his daughter. He's such a devoted father. It was just terrible. But he's gonna leave this. It was really tragic, but he's gonna help everyone remember the wonderful career and the wonderful legacy that he left behind with them.
Yes, I agree with that. Mamba mentality will, without a doubt, live forever. I think it's been amazing to see the outpouring of support that he's gotten and his family has gotten from athletes in every single sport, from former teammates, from commentators, everybody on ESPN. ESPN has done a phenomenal job with coverage of the whole Kobe Bryant situation. Just a super sad situation, and I hope that we never have to see something like this happen in the sports world or in the world again in general. But let's move on to what our show is going to be about today, and that's the NFL. It's the biggest week in football, Super Bowl week. The NFL honors the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So since the NFL honors is before the Super Bowl, we'll go to the NFL honors before we do the Super Bowl. So let's do our predictions for that. You guys want to start with MVP? I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'll start with MVP. I mean, if you look at the betting odds, I think it's minus 5,000 or something crazy for
Mhm.
Lamar. And I mean, he had the best regular season, statistical season of any player. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Lamar Jackson MVP this season.
Andrew.
Yeah, I mean you can't. I mean it's hard to disagree. I mean the only person you could say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, but Lamar Jackson easily had the best season,
Yeah.
most valuable in 2019. So you got to go with
And
Lamar.
then, yeah, Patrick Mahomes did miss 2 or 3
Yeah.
games this season, too. So you got to take that into account.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. This may be the most runaway MVP I can remember in a long time. There's no other option. He's winning this award. It's gonna happen.
Well, Steve, guys, I think it's very simple. Lamar Jackson is my two-time Pablo Power Player of the Week, and I predicted this a few weeks ago that this guy was going to win the MVP. I also predicted a lot of other things, but
Crazy
At least one
prediction.
of them
Yeah.
came
at
true.
least one of them came true. And I honestly thought he was going to make a big run in the playoffs, but
Mhm.
at least he's got this going for him.
Yeah. So Lamar Jackson is the consensus before the score MVP award. Congrats, Lamar Jackson. Next, we got the Coach of the Year award.
I'll start. Yeah. Like again, I think this is a runaway one. With John Harbaugh winning, which I do believe John Harbaugh is going to pull out. But I would like to see Vrabel, get in the conversation because this year the Titans for the last 3, 4, as long as I can remember, have been the most average team. the 8-8, the 7-9, the 9-7 team, right? Mike Vrabel comes in. Yeah, I think they go 9-7. Case in point, but you look at that playoff run, which it doesn't go into consideration for these awards. But Mike Vrabel done a fantastic job. I'm very excited to see next year what they do with the quarterback situation. If you keep Tannehill, you bring in a Brady-like guy, so. But Vrabel should be in the conversation, but Harbaugh takes it.
This is going to be our first disagreement here because I'm going to go with Kyle Shanahan because you look at what he was going into in the beginning of the year. Jimmy G coming off injury. They had the second pick of the draft. They were 4-12 last year, 4-12, and they're arguably the best team in the league this year. So he's done a phenomenal job. That offense is crazy. The way they run the ball, he's one of the best schematical coaches in the league. He's done a great job rallying the troops. So gotta go with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, big X's and O's guy.
Yeah, I think that you can't really go wrong with either of those picks, but I'm going to have to lean more towards the John Harbaugh area. That's my pick for Coach of the Year. I think that Harbaugh deserves it. I think this was his best coaching job, especially after Lamar Jackson didn't really he played all right last year, but nobody expected this.
Yeah,
passing-wise,
Yeah, nobody expected this to happen. And the way he kept that team together was fantastic. Obviously, you don't take into consideration the playoff runs. And I think the final thing that separates them is Harbaugh beat Shanahan. Yeah. And I think that's, in the end, what's going to
also something you got to look at is you got to look at skills, like the position-wise. So, you look at the 49ers, they got a lot of great pieces on their team. Maybe not big names, but I mean, you look at the Ravens, their wide receivers, tight ends are second-year players. The receivers, I can't even name that many. You got Willie Snead, you got
Willie Snead's their number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, and then they got what's his face? Who's the other receiver for the Ravens?
They got Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood, but he wasn't their breakout guy. But anyway, the way he I can't think of the word. The way he systematically, is that a word? Yeah, systematically I
guess it works.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. With the rushing attack, Lamar Jackson, yeah, you're going to get that, the rush is coming, but the read options with Mark Ingram, the way he just his play calling this year with John Harbaugh, just the way he set up that offense, Shanahan, yes, he did an outstanding job, best rushing attack in the league. I mean, I just don't think that Jimmy G, yes, the team's got better, but I just don't see him as a great quarterback yet, Lamar Jackson leading him to an MVP. Right. So that's why I give him the edge over that. But yes, Kyle Shanahan right in that conversation.
I've got to go with Harbaugh. Honestly, I think this guy, he put together an incredible season with the amount of talent that he had. And I know you can't put into consideration the playoff run, which would ultimately hurt him, but that's not, at least he got him there. And I would have to give him to Harbaugh. And I don't think this is the last time we see of Harbaugh next year with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh should win. I mean, I just personally believe that Shanahan should win.
Interesting. Yeah. So let's go to the assistant coach of the year. A little digression from coach of the year. I'll start off with that. My pick for assistant coach of the year is Robert Saleh. So you picked Shanahan, I picked Harbaugh. I was deciding between Saleh and maybe Greg Roman. Yeah. But I went with Saleh because that defense was so amazing this year. And I think he'll get his due. And I think eventually, I know it's been a trend to hire the assistant coach of the year, but I think that maybe next year he'll be the head coach.
Yeah, so we're kind of just keep that rolling. I'm going to go with Greg Roman just because that's the perfect offense for Lamar. He tailored his offense right for the perfect quarterback, and that was the most dangerous offense in the league. They could beat you over the air. They could beat you on the ground. He just did a perfect job coaching that, and his X and O's, the way that scheme that he ran was unbeatable in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Saleh on this one just because you look at that defensive line for the Niners this year. It was just, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but you look at some of the guys on that line, they might be winning awards too, So, and there was some injuries, like Quan Alexander was hurt. A couple guys on defense were hurt throughout the year, and he still made it a focal point where the Niners defense was something special this year. So I would go with Saleh, but big shout out to my boy Kevin Stefanski.
I would have to agree with you, Dan, on Saleh. He's a Saleh monster, and
wow, Saleh monster.
That's all I got to say.
I think that's a new nickname. Yeah. I don't think he's ever been called that. Going to offensive player of the year, who do you guys have for that?
I got to go with Run CMC here. Just the season that he put out. I mean, you can't carry a load on a running back to win you games, unlike, like the great Adrian Peterson in his MVP year. But I mean, you look at the 1,000 yards receiving, the 1,000 yards rushing, not scrimmage yards, 1,000 yards receiving and over 1,000 yards rushing, which is incredible. Never seen that in my lifetime, right? Like, I don't think that's happened.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy season.
Yeah. So, and like, he really gave the Panthers a reason to watch them. I mean, fantasy guys that owned them, like Andrew, were ecstatic to get him, in their fantasy drafts. Unbelievable season. He was in MVP talks at the beginning of the season for maybe half the season when the Panthers were doing pretty well.
Yeah, then the team
kind of collapsed, but it wasn't nearly on him. Like, that defense was terrible. Their quarterback play got so much worse. Like, Kyle Allen got regressed every year, and then Ron Rivera getting fired. But I'm gonna go with Run CMC.
I mean, the only other argument would be, I think, Lamar Jackson winning both MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. But I think it's got to be McCaffrey. Straight stats, straight offense, straight. I mean, they know he was running it, and he still ran it down their throat, break off these huge runs. Just watching him play, even last year, I loved watching him play, so I was really excited about him coming into the year. He exceeded all expectations for anybody. 1,000, that's Marshall Faulk-esque.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just a pleasure watching him play this year, so I hope he wins it.
You think that's the only other argument?
No, there's another argument. Michael Thomas.
Yeah, my Offensive Player of the Year is Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I think he's going to win it this year.
Well, yeah, he broke the catch record, didn't he?
Broke
Yeah,
the catch record, and
this one should be a competitive race.
I think it's the most competitive, honestly. And I think that if they valued more wide receivers in the MVP talks, he's had the closest to an MVP season we've seen from wide receiver in a long time.
Yep.
The way he controlled that offense, even when Drew Brees was out, the way he assisted Teddy Bridgewater, breaking the catch record. He killed me in fantasy this year because I passed on him for Julio Jones, so I was pissed off all year. But Michael Thomas, that's my Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, Steve, I'm always opposed to going after a quarterback than a wide receiver. In my opinion, I just think the quarterback, he's the captain, he's the leader of that whole team. So, in my opinion, I would go with Lamar Jackson. I mean, who else? This guy had a phenomenal season. He was a beast all year, and I got Lamar Jackson.
You saw it last year happen with Mahomes. He won Offensive Player of the Year and MVP.
It can happen.
It can happen,
especially when you're that dominant, and it's going to happen.
And we had this discussion last year. I remember saying that if you're an MVP, if you win the MVP and you're an offensive player, I don't think you should be considered for the Offensive Player of the Year position because it's just like double doing the awards. It's just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when AP won the MVP. I think Peyton Manning won Offensive Player of the Year, so they switch it up, which I'd rather them do that so more guys win awards and be recognized for everything.
But do you think that makes sense? I mean, if you're the best player, if you're the MVP, the most valuable player, don't you think you should be?
I think you have to be clearly better than the second place runner up for Offensive Player of the Year, like Mahomes was last year. I mean, people argue Drew Brees, but Patrick Mahomes had such a better year than Drew Brees.
No, I mean he's over 50 touchdowns. Like you can't really argue that. Yeah. But I'd like to see it as I mean, maybe people would disagree with me, but I think it should be like a number 2 MVP award, in my opinion.
It doesn't sound as cool, though.
No, it doesn't. But anyway, Michael Thomas, I hope he doesn't win. He's dead to me.
Well, that's my Offensive Player of the Year, so I hope he wins. Let's go to Defensive Player of the Year. And for that, usually you don't see defensive backs win this award, but I think this year the trend breaks and Stephon Gilmore wins the award because I think he was the best defensive player in all of football this year. Guy just had an amazing year, one of the best years we've seen from a cornerback in a long time. That Patriots defense was the anchor of that team, and if the defense wasn't that good, they might have not even won 6 games this year. So Stephon Gilmore, that's my Defensive Player of the Year for this year.
Yeah, I got to completely agree. Stephon Gilmore established him as the number 1 cornerback in the NFL, and it's not really even a debate. You got Tre'Davious White on the Bills, who's maybe a close second. I don't know, but easily Stephon Gilmore made teams. I think like you look at his games, like it's like targeted twice, targeted once, targeted twice. Like
it was insane.
It was insane that the like every play. It's one thing to be a good cornerback and give up with like a few big plays. You get them like caught sleeping. This guy did not give up one play. Like he was locked down all year. Like you said, Patriots defense, maybe like the first 6 or 7 weeks, they could have outscored him by points scored on the defense. Not that was all on him, but he was the biggest reason why that defense was so good. So I got to go with Stephon Gilmore.
This is the first year in a while that we're not talking about either Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald for the Defensive Player of the Year. So I think I do agree with both of you that it's going to be Stephon Gilmore. I mean, that's the best shutdown corner performance we've seen in years since probably Revis in 09.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good year for a defensive back to have this kind of year because there's no crazy 20-sack guy like there was last year with Donald. So I think he should win.
I can't agree with you guys anymore. and I think you hit it right on the head. In years previous, you had guys like Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, just like you mentioned, and this guy just moving forward, I just think he's going to be the new GOAT.
Yeah, the only one who's really other in the running besides Gilmore is Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
But he
Was
had an amazing year, but I
Yeah.
just think Gilmore was
I
just,
think T.J. Watt might be in like
Yeah, T.J.
discussion
Watt,
too, but
yeah.
not that he's gonna win it or anything.
maybe if he had a couple more sacks or something.
Yeah.
I
Did
would
Chandler
consider
Jones
him
lead the
more.
league in sacks this year?
He led the league in sacks, and he had like 5 forced fumbles.
If he wasn't
at
on
the end.
Arizona,
Yeah.
he'd be a star.
And
Oh,
Arizona
yeah.
defense is just not good. If they didn't have him, I don't even want to know how many
Yeah.
points they give up. So moving to the rookies, you got the offensive rookie of the year. And my pick for that, I got A.J. Brown of the
Oh
Tennessee
wow!
Titans.
I thought you were going something different. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I loved a couple guys in the rookie class this year, and it was a tough pick for me. But A.J. Brown came on so strong towards the end of the year, and I really loved his game and how he played. I think that he made that offense go, and I think they'll value that. And without him, I really don't know if the Titans would have went as far as they did.
Mhm.
So I know Derrick Henry went off at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But without that threat in the passing game, who knows if
He
Henry
opened up that offense.
Exactly. So the Titans were looking for that wide receiver, and now they finally got it. Corey Davis, that's a bust, man. A.J. Brown, he's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you for this one, but going with A.J. Brown, I mean that made Tannehill like a lot better of a player this year, having a weapon like that.
100%.
And he just came on a little late, I thought. You know, if I want to look at longevity, and I thought you were going to go with Josh Jacobs,
That was my other pick.
but I'm going to go with my boy Kyler Murray. And you got to look at the most important position, and you know, with Kyler Murray, he kind of carried that Arizona team. You look at the line, you look at the wide receiver play, just nothing but drop passes and sacks. Like he's getting pressured all the time, and he kept them in games. I remember watching that Lions game. I think it might have been like the second or third game of the season, and they were down 14 in the fourth quarter.
That was
and
the first game.
That was the
or
first
game of the
season,
season. Yeah, they were down like 14 in the fourth quarter, and he drags them back to overtime, and they eventually tied. But Kyler Murray had a great season. He did regress a little bit by the end of the year, but get this guy some tackles. You know, get him some guards. Like this is ridiculous. He's going to be a great player moving forward, and I think he's deserving of offensive rookie of the year.
I can't believe you just picked the second best rookie quarterback as your offensive.
Well, that's up for debate. It's definitely up for the debate with Danny
Dimes,
Ducks.
baby.
Danny Ducks.
I do
Dimes.
like a lot the AJ Brown pick. I think the last like 8 to 12 weeks of the season, he was easily the best rookie. But I think this is a season-long award, so it came down to me for it was either Josh Jacobs or Kyler Murray. I think personally Josh Jacobs should win it, but I think who will win it prediction-wise would be Kyler, just because the quarterback bias. I do think he's the best rookie quarterback, but you're always going to disagree with me on that. But you look at the Cardinals' offense last year, and they were brutal. Arguably the worst offense in the league last year.
That's what happens when Josh Rosen's your quarterback.
Josh Rosen was your quarterback. He looks awful. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Him and Kyler, they meshed really well. That offense started rolling a little bit at the beginning of the year and towards the middle of the year. They slowed down towards the end, but I mean, I think season long, he had pretty good stats for a rookie quarterback, especially probably the shortest quarterback ever, at that stature. I think he's gonna win it.
I haven't been too friendly with Browns on this show. Of course, Antonio Brown with the Odell Beckhamitis. But I do have to say that A.J. Brown had a phenomenal rookie season, and this guy is going to take home the gold come award day.
I didn't know where we were going with
Yeah,
that.
I thought you were
gonna
picking
say.
a Cleveland
I thought you were
Brown.
gonna say Kyler Murray was on the Browns for a second.
Well, no, I thought you were picking a Cleveland Brown. You were just going to pick some guy that's not a rookie. And then I'm
Yeah,
like, Greedy Williams is like the only rookie on that team.
I don't
We're
know.
Like,
talking
They
about-
really don't have any
Talk about
rookies.
offensive rookie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I didn't know where you were going with that for a second. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree with me.
All right.
Let's go to defensive rookie of the year, and this might be a clean sweep across the board. I got Nick Bosa, and that doesn't need any explanation.
Yeah, I hate Nick Bosa, but I'm going Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa should have been in green and white. Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa, brother of Joey Bosa.
There it is.
Yep.
So,
That's
That's a hard-hitting fact.
it's a hard-hitting fact. Ohio State, shout out Buckeyes, shout out Daniel Rodriguez. That's all I got to say.
All right, and our final award, the Comeback Player of the Year award.
You want to go first?
I'll go first. My pick for that, it's usually a quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm going with my quarterback. Gig 'em, it's Ryan Tannehill. After such a bad last 2-3 years, injuries plagued,
Mhm.
two torn ACLs. Guy was a backup coming into the year. 6 weeks into the year, he was still the backup.
Yeah.
Goes to the AFC Championship game. Goes on a legendary run. Ryan Tannehill is my comeback player of the year.
Yeah, and I can't disagree with anything you said. Like, that team got completely different once he got into the starting lineup. But like I said, longevity, like I want to see full years. And you look at the Vikings last year, and they were, I think, 8-7-1, and it was because Dalvin Cook was injured, and I think he was injured for like one game this season. But anyway, he had such a remarkable season. He's the reason the Vikings got to the playoffs because he put so much less pressure on Kirk Cousins. The Vikings offense was completely different with Dalvin Cook. Thank God he's healthy. Hopefully he stays healthy, but that's my comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess stats-wise, you could argue Dalvin Cook. I see that coming off such a major injury. He never really had like a full season though before that, so he's not coming back from as much.
Technically, yes.
So I think I'm going to go with Tannehill just because he's been in the league for so long. He's had so many downs in his career. He's been injured. He's had horrible years. He's been handcuffed by Adam Gase before. Yep. I think he led the league in pass rating and QBR this year. And coming into that Titans passing offense was brutal with Mariota. So to see the leap that they took from Mariota to Tannehill was crazy to see, and put up great numbers, carried them to the playoffs. He wasn't asked to do much in the playoffs, but that's not coming into the discussion because it's a regular season award. So I think it goes to Tannehill.
Tannehill will win.
Wow. Okay.
Comeback player.
Now, is Marcus Mariota that bad?
I don't think it's Marcus Mariota is that bad. I just think Tannehill fit the offense better. He's a better downhill thrower, and he just is a better controller of the game. Mariota, I think, has been so injury prone, and it's been tough for him to come back from some of those injuries, especially the nerve injury in his elbow. I think he'll get another chance somewhere else in the future. Maybe it's a better fit. Maybe it's a Ryan Tannehill situation with the Titans. Who knows?
But like Ryan Tannehill, he had a great season, but it's Ryan Tannehill. I guess I got to see a couple more years of him playing at a high level, but I don't trust the guy that much moving forward. I wouldn't sign him to a big contract.
It's a 1-year award. It's not.
I'm not arguing.
Even then, when you win an award, it's not MVP next 5 years. It's not rookie of the year. I think you're going to have a great career. It's how good did you play that season? How great you were compared to the other players. And this guy just brought it.
Of course. I'm not arguing that. It's just the fact that Marcus Mariota was, he has to be that bad because Ryan Tannehill is an average quarterback, and he played a great season, but I don't see him moving forward to be playing like he was. I just think Mariota must just be a bad quarterback.
You know what's funny about this award, and I could say this about any sport. I think comeback player of the year award, as well as coach or head coach or manager of the year award, I think those are two awards in where either A, the team has to be really bad and you bring them to the the playoffs, so you go on a long run, or A, you suck the year before and then the next season you just improve by so much. So
that sounds like the basis for winning the award.
That's right. It's about a comeback.
Yeah, it's
coming back
comeback,
from
but
something.
the award. I think the award is dumb to begin with. It's in my opinion.
I think I know why you think that. Why? Because the betting favorite right now for the award is your boy Jimmy Garoppolo. So I don't know. I think that might be the reason.
Jerry G.
So speaking of Jerry G, let's move to the Super Bowl preview. We're done with the NFL honors. We finished all our awards. It's the biggest week in football. It's the biggest game in football, biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl. It's a good one this year. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you just gotta really hope. Last year was probably in my lifetime the worst Super Bowl I've watched. The Broncos Panthers one that was a freaking blowout.
I actually like that one.
Not the Panthers, the Broncos Seahawks. Sorry, when the Broncos got blown out.
Yes, it had to be that bad.
Well, yeah, MetLife, Jet Life, terrible stadium. But anyway, yes, you're right. But yeah, last year's Super Bowl. I wasn't even watching it. No one was scoring. The Rams had this best offense ever. Or last season.
You were probably just tuning in for the commercials, right?
The commercials kind of sucked after halftime.
They haven't been good in a couple years.
You want to know what? The commercials might suck, but you're still going to watch it because you're like, they're kind of interesting.
Well, you know what?
I've never been
they're so bad
Super
they're
Bowl
good.
Commercial guy. They were good. I remember watching the Giants for Super Bowl against the Patriots. I those commercials. I was crying as a kid.
Well, the Doritos,
that
all
Super Bowl
Doritos
right,
commercials.
Before we get in the game, what's your favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time? We gotta have one of those.
I don't know if I can do it off the top of my head. There's some Dorito ones.
Pick one that comes to mind.
Fine. Monkey Baby.
That was mine.
Yeah, that one was,
my God.
That one was funny.
Puppy Monkey Baby.
Puppy Monkey Baby.
That one was funny.
Puppy
Come
Monkey
on.
Baby.
Everybody was
Doritos
laughing
good
at that
with
one.
them.
Doritos had so many good ones.
They
But
spent a lot of
but
goddamn
what sucks
money.
with
M&M's
this
has
year
good ones too.
Yeah.
The
is
Danny DeVito one where you hit by a
I know.
car.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a
That
good
was
one.
pretty funny.
But what sucks with this year though is that they were supposed to do Mr. Peanut's funeral as a Super Bowl commercial, but they're in respects to Kobe, they're not going to do the funeral.
Oh,
So he's not
okay.
going to be part of the commercial
I
anymore.
didn't know that.
I expect
So-
Kobe to be a huge part of that Super Bowl this Sunday.
Well, of course they'll do it.
Well,
They
yeah,
should do a
I think they
tribute
already
to
said
him.
Some kind of
they're gonna
tribute.
honor him.
And then
Sure.
you got the All-Star game where he's going to be,
Yeah.
front and center.
front and center for.
Yeah.
But moving back to the game, I really hope this year's Super Bowl is a lot better, which it should be. It should be high scoring. It should be exciting. So we should be very excited for this year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is one of the Super Bowls. Last year, if you took both losers of the championship games, the Saints and the Chiefs,
Oh my
that
God.
game would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I think this year we finally got the right game. We were
Mhm.
paying for those sins last year. We got Brady in the Super Bowl winning number 6. It was terrible. Nobody was happy outside of New England. So I'm excited for this. Let's talk about a little more intricacies besides both the teams. A little comparison between position groups. So between Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy Garoppolo, I think we all know who we're
Yeah, I
picking
think
there.
we can.
And
that's-
it's
not-
a
it's not-
very
it's not even
wide
close.
It's a
margin.
very wide margin. So we don't even have to talk about
Not
that.
even close.
But Jimmy G does have a point to prove in this Super Bowl because it's going to be a high scoring game. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him to flip the narrative. So we'll
Yes.
see if he could do it. I personally do not think so. And Pablo, I know, does not think so.
But before we get to the players on the field, let's talk about the coaching staff. Which coaching staff do you have the most confidence in this weekend?
Personally, I'm going to go with Andy Reid just because he's been there. Not that he, went over the hump, but he's been to a Super Bowl with Philadelphia when they lost. And he's just had so much time in this league, maybe like almost 20 years now. He's been a head coach. Just, he's going to be ready for the big game. And I'm going to go with that coaching staff more.
I mean, the Chiefs obviously have the experience with Reed and
Spagnuolo.
Spags
from New
New York
York.
Giants.
They definitely have the experience advantage, but I think X and O's, I think their schemes, it's got to be the 49ers. I think two of the best offensive and defensive minds in the league are on the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. So I think coaching-wise, I think the Niners have the edge.
Yeah, coaching-wise, I'm going to have to agree with Andrew here. I think that the 49ers do have the edge. Andy Reid's got some bad habits. Kyle Shanahan, he doesn't really have any. When I watch his games, I don't really see the bad habits I see that Andy Reid has.
It's a safer offense,
Yeah.
too, the way they run it.
Safer
yeah.
offense, and I think Reid has had to deal with more and bring his team back from more, go through more adversity than the 49ers have. Shanahan's not as tested. I think his worst coaching decisions have come as a coordinator, like the 28-3 comeback.
Mm.
But I think he's learned from that, and it obviously didn't have the repercussions that it had for Andy Reid in Super Bowls and his whole past. So I'm going to go with the 49ers just because I love Kyle Shanahan as a play caller, and Robert Saleh has that defense ready to play. Although that was one of the tougher ones. That's close. This is two
it's very
great coaching
close.
staffs.
Yeah, you could go either way on this, 100%.
I would say 49ers, not just, because they have one, from one standpoint, they have a great offensive coach. And from the other standpoint, they have a great defensive coach. Now, that's why they're here. Above all else, that's why they're in the position they are this Sunday. So I just have to give it to the 49ers.
And the case in point with this, the Chiefs' defense, it's been good, but it hasn't been great. Spags is, like you said, he's been here and he's done it. So he's going to be very ready to get this defense very motivated. So I think that's the edge because the offense of Kansas City is just ridiculous.
Yeah, so looking more at players on the field now. You got two of the best tight ends in the whole league, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. And I've been going back and forth on which one I want all year. And I don't, in fantasy football, in real life, on my team, I didn't know who I wanted. Who would you guys want as your starting tight end for this week's game?
I think you got to go Travis Kelce. He's done it before. He's been amazing again this year. It's hard to bet against him. I think Kittle's more athletic. I think he's a better athlete than Kelce is, but I think Kelce's just he's playing chess out there. He knows exactly where to be. He's in the perfect spot every time. He has a better rapport with his quarterback. I think he's overall a more well-rounded football player, but Kittle's just fun to watch, man.
For how big Travis Kelce is, he's one of the best route runners in the NFL. It's ridiculous to watch because he always finds a pocket of space. This guy's ridiculous. And I've seen games where George Kittle has a bad game, is being guarded by like a good linebacker, can't really get some space. every time I tune into a Chiefs game, this guy Travis Kelce has like
He can
80,
be-
90,
he can be
100
double
yards.
covered, and they know they're throwing to him, and they'll still get him the ball.
And one thing I like for this Super Bowl, I might pick Travis Kelce at the most receiving yards. I think he's just always going to be open. I don't think anyone's going to be able to guard him, so I got to go with Kelce here. But Kittle, great talent.
Yeah, I think these two tight ends are 1A and 1B, and everybody else is much far below them.
Oh, yeah.
You got
There's a
Zach
cliff.
Ertz and Evan Ingram, but they're not even on close
Darren
to their
Waller.
level.
Darren
So-
Waller, yeah.
Yeah, Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, but Travis Kelce and George Kittle, they're the best of the best. I've seen both of them play up and close against the New York Giants. Kittle, the last two years, this guy's just killed us. This guy is amazing. This guy is a fantastic tight end, but I got to pick Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, he's done it, like you said. He's the best tight end in the league the last 2 years, I believe. And his rapport with Mahomes is just,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
it's like Gronk, Brady, Breeze, Jimmy Graham-esque. So I'm excited to see Travis Kelce and Mahomes work in the Super Bowl.
I think it's got to be a clean sweep. Travis Kelce, this guy's the man. This guy, when you look in terms of the past few years in tight ends, you have Gronk, you have Jimmy Graham. I think it's Travis Kelce's turn, and his time is now.
So speaking of Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, how can the Chiefs win the Super Bowl? What do they need to do?
Well, they're going to have to get some stops. And most importantly, what they did against the Titans, they went down early. And Derrick Henry was supposed to get going. But I think they left them maybe got 70 yards that game. So the attack, the 49ers rushing attack, how good it is. We saw it last game against the Packers. I mean, Raheem Mostert got 4 touchdowns. Who would ever thought, So they're going to be constantly running the ball. And if you could shut that aspect down of the game, you're going to have to make Jimmy G throw it. So ultimately, I believe it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be, 28-28 in the fourth quarter. Like, it's going to be a high-scoring game. So if you can make Jimmy G throw it, the Chiefs have a good chance to win.
For the Chiefs to win, I think they got to go ahead early. If they get a lead, they got to make Jimmy G, Jerry G, then make the 49ers throw the ball. If they can make the 49ers throw the ball and they can rush their passers, get that front seven moving, and just not have them get run down their throat. If Raheem Mostert gets 30 carries in the game, they're going to lose. So if they get a lead early, they hold it, their offense is clicking, and the Niners aren't built to play from behind as not nearly as much as the Chiefs are.
And an interesting tidbit with that, real quick. Both games that I think Kansas City played Tennessee, they went down 10. Kansas City plays Houston, they go down 24? 24.
They can't do it again this week.
Then you got the 49ers, they go up 7-0 on the Vikings. Vikings tied up, and then they just pulled away. And then Green Bay, they were up by 23 or something. So both teams are completely different. They've had completely different playoff runs. So to say, like, oh, if they get down early, they might be, like, screwed over. You never know. But, like, I got to agree with Andrew. Like, they can't get down early because this is something different. This is a new animal. This isn't Houston. This isn't Tennessee. This is a completely different animal.
Yeah, for the Chiefs to win this game, I think it's very simple, and it really comes down to quarterback play. Mahomes has to play a good game because that's your offense right there. Because nobody's scared of Damian Williams running down your throats, and you gotta shut down Jimmy Garoppolo. Make him beat you. I don't know if he can. That's your strategy, because if you let them run all over you, that's what they're gonna do. It happened to the Packers. It happened to the Vikings. Jimmy G has to be the one to beat you if you're gonna win this game. You have to make him do it. And I think that's your best shot.
And one game, sorry, Pablo. And one game the Kansas City Chiefs should really look at is when the 49ers played the Saints, and it was a pretty much like a 48-45 game. Jimmy G was throwing the ball really well. So you got to look at that game and see how it played out, because this might be high scoring, and see where they went wrong and where you could correct that.
Yes.
Now, the Super Bowl is, this is the game. This is the only game.
It's the Super Bowl.
This is the Super Bowl. This is the last game of the season. This is what you play for. This is what, you grow up. Oh, I want to play professional football. I want to be in the NFL. I want to be a Super Bowl champion, and I want my legacy to live on forever. Now, when you look at Jimmy G and when you look at Patrick Mahomes is just such a superior quarterback. And not only do I think that they have to score early, they have to keep pounding the pressure and just put all the pressure on Jimmy G and his underwhelming quarterback skills to try and come back. Because honestly, when you look at the defense of the 49ers, if they get a 2-touchdown lead, 3-touchdown lead, if they are up and there's not too much time left, I don't think there's any way Patrick Mahomes or any other quarterback can come back and bring this team back, because this is the game. This is when you have to bring it, and Patrick Mahomes better bring it this Sunday.
Yeah, that's how the Chiefs could win. How can the 49ers pull this game out? Let's go opposite way. How can you feel that?
Okay. I'll just say exactly what I just said. The 49ers, they have to score early because their defense is that good. If they could score early and they could find a way to limit Patrick Mahomes to do damage, I think that they will have a successful Sunday.
Yeah, like I said, with the Chiefs having to come down to quarterbacks, I think that's a lot of the way that the 49ers will win. I don't think they're going to go in there and run the ball down the throat of the Chiefs 50 times like they did the Packers and the Vikings. I think Jimmy G is going to have a good game to get a Super Bowl victory.
Pablo makes a great point where the 49ers got to get off running. But you got to look at that Packers game. Not that the Packers were ever going to come back, but they did make a run for it. This is different. The Chiefs' offense is so much better than the Packers' offense. If you let the Chiefs have an opportunity of a window to get back into it, then they could fully collapse because it's just a young team. You never know what's going to happen. So their main objective is to keep it going. They can't just let the foot off the brake. This is a Super Bowl. You just got to just keep going, keep grinding, blow them out if you have to. Just don't give them that window of opportunity to come back.
Yeah, I think the Niners' recipe to win is a little more simple than the Chiefs. They just got to play to their strengths. If they can run the ball efficiently and Jimmy G can hit those throws when he needs to on those play action throws, those big throws that are going to be huge in this game, because he can't have 8-10 pass attempts to win. I just don't think that's going to happen. So he's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to throw the ball well. If they get to do that, if they play to their strengths and get a lead, and that front seven can pin their ears back and just rush Patrick Mahomes, I think they can kind of fluster him a little bit. I think they should be able to win this game.
Yeah, so we've talked about how both teams can win. We talked about which quarterback, which staff, which tight end, who you rather would have. It's time to talk about who you got. So for the Super Bowl, the final pick of the year, who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
So obviously everyone's going to bet on this game, and I'm going to bet on the team I want to win, not that I think to win, and that's probably why I'm going to lose. But either way, I'm going to go with the Chiefs -1.5. I think it is right now. There's no way this game's going to be. That spread doesn't matter. It's not going to be decided by a point. It's a pick 'em. I really think the Niners are a little bit better of a team. But I'm not watching a whole Super Bowl rooting for one team, but rooting for the other because I have a bet in. I'm just going to go with the Chiefs just because I want to enjoy my night. So I'm going to go Chiefs -1.5.
For a game that's this close, it's pretty much a pick 'em. This is such a great matchup. This is the matchup I was rooting for to happen at the beginning of the playoffs, and so I'm happy we got it. I'm going to go against who I want to win. I'm just going to go with the better team. I'm really confident in this pick, even though it's such a close game. It's such a close spread. The 49ers are going to win this game. The 49ers, they're the most balanced team in the league. Defense, offense. I think Jimmy G, I don't think he's going to have to carry the game. I think he can do enough and make enough plays where he's not going to lose in the game. He'll kind of be like a game manager. I think they'll run the ball well. Kansas City doesn't have a great run defense, so I think they'll be able to move the ball on the ground. I think that defense is going to play lights out. Robert Saleh is going to have them fired up. I think the 49ers should easily win this game.
Easily, wow.
I'm very confident in it.
Now, I've been going back and forth on this pick since this matchup was determined 2 weeks ago. I really had no idea who I was going to pick right now. I'm still kind of weary on it. I still don't know if this is who I'm going to bet on, if I even bet on this game, because it's that close, and I want to enjoy my night, like Dan said. But another thing Dan brought up was the 49ers versus the Saints game, and I think that's the blueprint for this game. And I think people are really doubting. I think even I have doubted how good of a quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo can be. And I know Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Patrick Mahomes is arguably one of my favorite players in the entire league. He might be the face of the league right now. And I think he's going to win a Super Bowl eventually, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I'm going to have to go with the 49ers. I think Jimmy G does enough where he brings the 49ers to the promised land. They win the game. I'm going to say Jimmy G throws 2 to 3 touchdown passes, over 200 yards, close to 300, not quite, maybe 287, something around there. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to be a Super Bowl champion quarterback. And who knows? Maybe it's the first of many. Maybe it's his only one, and he goes in the record books as a Joe Flacco. Yeah. But I think he's going to ball out, have a good game. It reminds me of the Saints game because Jimmy G did enough to win in that game. You saw him. He's won close games all year. He's won the Cardinals game. He's won the Saints game. He's won the Seahawks game. Obviously, he's never faced a team like this Chiefs team who can just put up points in a millisecond. You saw they were down 24 and they were up at halftime against the Texans.
Yeah.
But I got to go with the 49ers. I just can't bet against them again.
Now, when I think about Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't see a Super Bowl champion. And what kind of person would I look like if the whole before the score,
episodes.
before the score,
Don't
8
do it.
episodes, the existence of before the score, I have been saying that Jimmy G is not good enough. And I think he's still not going to be good enough. And Patrick Mahomes, this Sunday, he's going to bring it. I'm predicting 4 touchdowns. Travis Kelce is going to be targeted like hell this Sunday. And I'm predicting at least 2 touchdowns to be from him. And I'm predicting at least 250 plus yards.
For Travis Kelce?
No.
Oh.
No. For Patrick
jump on
Mahomes.
this table.
Okay.
And that is not a spoiler, but that is a prediction. Bet your house. Bet everything on this pick.
No.
I have one more point to make in this game.
Yes.
You look at the past 5-6 Super Bowls. Besides the Eagles, you look at the Broncos offense, you look at the Panthers offense, you look at Falcons offense, the Rams offense. These crazy offenses that go into these Super Bowls against a really damn good defense, they always come up short. This recipe has worked for decades and decades. It's not going to stop this year. I don't think Jimmy G is that bad where he's going to lose him the game. So this recipe has worked. It's worked. It's not going to stop.
I didn't say he was that. Obviously, I said that, but I
you did. You actually did say that.
All right, but that's not the reason why they're going to lose. The reason why is Patrick Mahomes is far superior.
Everyone always looks at a game and points out the quarterbacks. The better quarterback has to win. That's not always true.
No, I
I
agree
think
with
Patrick
that.
Mahomes will easily outplay Jimmy G, and he's still going to lose.
My thing with the Chiefs defense, though, is Steve Spagnuolo. He's been to a Super Bowl already. He beat the best team of all time. Give him 2 weeks to prepare, and he'll be ready for anybody. So I think that Chiefs defense is actually going to have a really good game. I think this could be like last year where we expected a super high-scoring blowout game, and we get 17 to 14.
I do like
Something
the
like
under
that.
as a bet this week.
I have a question. Can I switch my pick? The fact that Pablo just went with the Chiefs just makes me
I don't-
so
Very
not
confidently
confident.
going with the Chiefs,
Pablo's
too.
like 0 for his last 6 picks.
Pablo's playoff picks are 2-8, and overall from weeks 15 on into the playoffs, he is 26-29.
That's not that bad. Come on.
That is kind of bad,
Not that
and
good.
that makes me pissed off because the Chiefs are going to lose. I'm going to bet on them. I'm going to lose because
Bro,
Listen,
all right,
just
hope-
go with the Niners.
let's
Just
go-
say
I
the
hope
Niners.
you're right so bad, Pablo.
I'll tell you what. I will put money on this game. That's how confident.
You want
I
to
am.
put money on it?
I
Want to
will
put 20 bucks on it?
How much?
Right here on air?
120. Yes.
No, $20.
Oh.
20 bucks. Come on, I'm not crazy.
20 bucks.
20 bucks. 220?
20 bucks in the Niners.
20
You're
bucks.
shaking. No. Are you going to shake?
Get over.
Here. At the camera.
20 bucks.
So quickly, I just want to run down our
Wait,
playoff picks.
before you do that,
okay.
We're before the scores. We got 4 people. We got a tie right now in Super Bowl picks.
Oh,
we
here
gotta
we
break
go.
that tie. So
Yeah,
I know
we do
one
gotta-
man in this basement who can do it.
Get the mic on.
So we're gonna send it to Zonak. It's
ZZ
his pick.
Z-
Super Bowl 55. Who
nice
you
new
got,
mic.
Zonak?
Where's the camera? There.
Oh!
It's close.
I need to
Back it up. Back it up. No.
Nah,
Back
just
it
back-
up.
wheel back, wheel
Just
back.
stay like that. Just stay
Wheel
like that.
back.
Yeah, just move back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's a good shot.
The 49ers.
Let's go!
Ooh.
We
So
got
you know what that
Zonak on our
means?
side.
That means that we're gonna win by
No,
default.
All right.
Zonak's picks are hot.
49ers
Zonak's
got
better than
Zonak,
you.
and the Chiefs got Pablo. So they're both mushes. They cancel out 49ers.
It is
I'm
double
not a-
mush.
I'm not a
Chiefs
mush.
won, 49ers
Double
still
mush.
win.
Oh,
You're
You're
100% a
Captain
mush.
Yeah, you are.
Easily.
Professor Mush.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
God.
was Dan was saying about our regular
All right.
season picks?
So I'll start off with the regular season with our picks. I went 28-20 from week 15 to 17.
That sucks.
Steve went 29-19. He beat
That
me by
sucks.
1 game. Andrew missed week 17, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, so he
last
sucks
one.
by default.
So he went 19-13, and then Pablo went 24-21. So Pablo was the worst.
I'll tell you what, you don't go anywhere if you're not bold, and I am a bold predictor.
Wait.
I came into this world as a bold thinker, and that is a bold statement.
We have to see your playoff picks to see how great bold gets you.
So he was 2-8 in the
It
playoffs.
gets you 20%.
Where it really matters.
Where let's see,
If you're a waiter, 20% is good, but when you're picking football games, 20% is not good.
Pablo, Tennessee versus New England. He picks New England. New Orleans versus Minnesota. New Orleans. Philadelphia, Seattle. He picked Philadelphia.
Wait, so what
Tennessee-
what picks did he get right?
He got 3 picks right. Houston versus Buffalo. He took Houston. He agreed with
I
me.
thought he said he was 2-8.
Oh no, 2 picks. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you got that game right, and then Minnesota 49ers, which everyone picked the Niners, so except you.
So you
actually.
really got one pick.
You followed me on the Houston Buffalo.
Yeah, but there was a few games.
You got one pick right that was hard to pick.
And in Houston, they almost lost too. If they lost,
they
you
should have
You
lost.
could have easily gone
1-9.
Yeah, but
But
there was almost one game where they did win. They were up by. They were killing.
They were 24.
You picked Green Bay over the 49ers, bad pick. You picked Houston over Kansas City, which kind of screwed you, but still bad pick. You picked Seattle over Green Bay, bad pick. Yeah, just some
That was probably your
terrible.
I'll tell you what.
picks.
We both went 0-4 the first week.
I will
but
double.
I wasn't
I will
much, so
double down
rebounded.
on that. I will double down on that bet with you. That's
I
how
don't want-
confident I am.
I don't care. I don't want to.
What
I
would-
said
what would-
$20 for a reason.
So
Yeah.
All right, give me
Dan-
odds
Dan-
on
I'll
it.
make side bets.
Give me odds on it.
Dan's a little scared.
Give
to
me
go
2.5
against the
points.
Spread right here.
Give me a 2.5
Yeah,
point
I'm
cushion. I'll
not-
do $40.
Let's just say I won it.
We'll talk about it after the show.
I
So
had to get that
Steve
out
had
there.
the best spread. We'll just say his. He went 23-20 and two
So I
or
broke
two
even.
pushes.
That's not impressive to me.
That's
Well,
you tried
for
betting
spreading-
on 40. Well, how much is that? 45.
45 games.
Bet on 45 games and you break
You
even.
couldn't
and we'll
even-
see how you couldn't
You
even do
went
it
2
on
and 8
10.
on money lines.
Yeah, come on. Wait, Pablo, your spread was.
Oh, you would have lost. If you were a betting man, you would have lost a lot of
You
money.
did 13, 14, and 2 on spread,
Yeah.
which isn't
But
terrible.
overall straight picks for the season, I won going 35-23. And second place was Steve?
Yeah.
Nah.
counting playoffs.
Oh, Steve technically 33-25, so 2 games out. Then Andrew went 24-18 because he missed a week. And Pablo 26-29 went
Under
negative.
500.
Under 500 for his picks for the
You
rest
see,
of the
I
year.
would like to say Pablo's bold speeches
Let
did
me see
get
it
to
again.
me during the playoffs, and that's what sent me into a tailspin, and that is why I blew it in the playoffs, like
Oh, it is?
By
like
0.01.
Wait, what's
like
his
many
percentage?
teams do in the playoffs.
It's ridiculous.
So Andrew had a better
Unbelievable.
percentage.
My
technically.
percentage was higher than yours. Damn it.
by
By
point.
0.01.
Yeah,
had
but-
12
By 0.01.
less
You
games.
missed the whole
Week
week.
doesn't even
17's
count.
You were-
easy.
you were-
Oh,
you were
come on,
con-
give me a
easy.
break.
Would
You
you
were-
ever pick the Jets over the Bills?
Andrew,
Yes.
Would you have picked the Jaguars over the
Matt
Colts?
Barkley,
Andrew,
Jaguar. I don't
you
know.
you were
probably not.
you were
That's a loss.
conveniently
Okay, but you were really going to go over
conveniently
this.
sick.
You want me to pick them now?
Yeah, let's pick
You
the
were
Bills.
conveniently in your deathbed.
No, it's not gonna do
You were
that.
conveniently sick. That's
But
all
I
gotta say.
picked the Bills game. Right?
No,
Or
you
the
should
Jets
get a
game.
loss because your flu game is worse than Pablo's.
You could have texted. You told me to text in my picks.
That's
No one
not-
told me
that's
we
not-
were
You were on
counting
your
this.
deathbed.
No one
Not
told
what
me
we
we were
do here.
counting
You had
this.
the
I
coronavirus.
did not have the corona. If I had the coronavirus, then you guys now have the coronavirus.
Don't say that. Don't spread that rumor. We don't have the coronavirus. It's not transmittable through listening either. So
Listening to bad takes from Pablo.
that's the only virus you'll get.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
immune.
so before the score is Super Bowl picks, Pablo Chiefs, Dan Chiefs,
Can I
Steve
switch?
Zonak, and Andrew 49ers. Put them in. That's your bets. Let's move on to our next segment. Real quick, what are your thoughts on the Royal Rumble?
All right, Steve. So overall, as a show, I didn't think it was that bad this week.
This year?
This year, but why in the world did they pick Charlotte Flair over Shayna Baszler? Like, what is their problem? When you look at how absent the booking of their entire roster, especially their women. I mean, who do you have? You have you don't have Shayna Baszler. You have Charlotte Flair. You have Becky Lynch, and that's it. You don't have Sasha Banks because she's never on TV. Nobody cares about Bayley.
Well, my thing with
Nobody
Charlotte
cares about
Flair,
NXT. I mean, they don't care about NXT.
My thing with her winning the Royal Rumble is the rumor is that she's going to challenge the NXT champion Rhea Ripley.
But I don't believe that.
But if that's true, that's the rumor we're getting as of now. That's a great match, and that's a WrestleMania quality match. And that would mean Becky Lynch is freed up to face. I don't know who she would face because a rumor is Ronda Rousey's not going to have a match at WrestleMania. But I think that Flair versus Ripley would be an awesome match. Well, Becky Lynch maybe versus Shayna Baszler, and then you got Bayley versus Sasha
All right,
Banks.
Steve, in my opinion, it should be Charlotte versus Ronda because I do think.
Ronda's not going to fight at WrestleMania though.
Who said that? It's
That rumor is she doesn't want to. Her and
Okay.
Undertaker.
okay. Well, I don't give a damn about the Undertaker, but Ronda Rousey, I do think there is a chance. We're still many weeks away from WrestleMania. I do think there's a chance that she can come back, and I think she's gonna find a way to win the championship, from
Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair?
From Bailey.
Bailey.
And I do think there's a way she wins that title.
Well, she's a bigger draw.
She is a bigger draw, number one, and I think her on SmackDown, especially with Fox and their deal, would be money. So I could see her winning and challenging Charlotte. Vince McMahon is finally going to get the championship match that he wants at WrestleMania. It was supposed to be that last year.
Becky Lynch.
Ruined it with her broken nose. Nia botch ruined everything. So I do think that is going to happen. We're going to see Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now for the Raw Women's Championship, I think we're going to see a Shayna Baszler versus
I can definitely see
Becky
that.
Lynch. And Shayna Baszler, she might not look that good, but geez, she is vicious. And when you think about real champion, and geez, she is a real champion and she is a real competitor. And looking forward, I can see her tying in with Ronda Rousey and Four Horsemen.
Yeah, and
Four Horsewomen versus, the Four Horsewomen of
that was
happen.
a rumored main event for WrestleMania.
It's gonna happen at Survivor Series.
Yeah. But moving on to the men's Royal Rumble, the winner was Drew McIntyre. And I'm firmly behind him as the top babyface in the company. He's going to be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I'm excited for that match. I think it's going to be a good one. I think McIntyre's going to win the championship. They'll strap the rocket to him. And there's a little debate going on right now internally in WWE where Paul Heyman is pulling for that match to main event WrestleMania, and Vince McMahon is pulling for The Fiend versus Roman Reigns to main event WrestleMania. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as time moves on.
So when you look at our predictions, who'd you have to win this match?
I had Keith Lee.
Keith Lee.
And that didn't come to fruition, but he did have a good showing in the match.
Okay, well, that's a very good pick.
At least he showed up because...
At least he showed up.
At least he
all
showed
three
up.
of your picks didn't show up.
Yeah, John Cena didn't show up. Sasha Banks, I don't know where the hell she was.
Yeah, she wasn't even on the show.
So I'm 0-0. When you guys talk about mushes for all the other picks,
you predicted
if
them
you don't
coming
win,
back.
you lose.
No, I
you
didn't.
predicted them being
it
in
was
the match.
neutral.
So you're
No,
wrong.
it's not. He's 0-1 for
I'm
Shane
0-1.
McMahon. Yeah. You
Okay.
don't get nothing because you picked something wrong.
No, because they weren't there. So how can I lose?
And that's such a like, I don't know, it's a dumb bet. Why are you gonna bet someone if you can't lose unless they're in it?
Why would you bet someone that you don't know for
Then
certain?
I would
is gonna
just
be
pick.
there?
I would have just picked somebody who's not in the company right now to win.
Okay. So anyway,
The Rock.
Can never be wrong.
I have a 0% chance of losing them.
so I did think that Roman Reigns was going to win, and I didn't see him
He should've
challenging.
won.
I didn't see him challenging Brock Lesnar. I definitely saw him challenging The Fiend. But when you look at Drew McIntyre, I just hope they don't go the way of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns a few years ago, where you want these guys to win because you think it's their time, and then as soon as they win the championship, they just become so stale and you hate them. I mean, I do not want that to happen to Drew McIntyre, and I kind of think that this should have happened a little bit earlier because I just feel like he's been ruined, especially after he came up with Dolph Ziggler. I just never saw them as a true pairing together.
Has Roman gotten better, in your opinion, since like the whole cancer thing? And like, do people like him more, or he's still just like?
Well, they're not shoving him down our throat as much, but he's still a big factor.
Do you hate him? Like, you still hate him?
I don't hate the person. I hate the character because he's just boring, bro. The Shield hasn't been together in what, a year and a half, or like fully in a few years, and this dude is still a part
Didn't
of
he
the Shield.
Superman punch Seth Rollins?
He did, but
Yeah.
they're not together.
I know they're not
He
together
uses
anymore.
the-
No, but
he uses the theme song.
He uses the theme song. He uses the same outfit.
Oh yeah, he never switched it.
He comes out through the crowd. This guy, I don't know, man. It's never going to be his time, and they always shove him down our throat. And I don't think it's time for him to take the title off the Fiend.
Well, he's already main evented WrestleMania twice, or 3 times actually, and he's already,
there's no doubt in my mind that he could be a main event star
if he's a heel.
if he's a heel. But I've never seen him as a heel.
If he's a heel, he would be. He'd be my favorite in the company.
He would be amazing.
Yeah.
He's one of the most athletic people in all of WWE.
Of
if
course,
not
he's one of the best
most.
wrestlers
Yeah.
in all of
and
WWE
yeah,
as well.
He's all right.
He's good.
He's all right. But
He doesn't really have bad matches.
all that means is that he's gonna win the Elimination Chamber match.
Of course, I think the Elimination Chamber, you don't even need to watch it. It's going to be Roman Reigns.
it's gonna
winning
be
the
Roman
Chamber.
Reigns.
He's going to challenge the Fiend at WrestleMania, which I think is going to be a good feud. Maybe you involve his family a little bit, like you teased The Miz. I hope that the match doesn't go on last, because that's kind of an omen that he's going to beat the Fiends, because you try to end WrestleMania, send everybody home happy, except for...
Well, I think you have to end WrestleMania with the Royal Rumble match winner.
I agree. But you see in past years that doesn't always happen. So,
And the Universal title is not as important as the WWE World title.
Mhm.
But, that's not how they feel. That's not how Vince feels. And Roman is Vince's guy. And Roman is going to win this title, whether we like it or not.
well, when they finally pull the trigger on Roman Reigns winning the title for the first time since his leukemia diagnosis, I mean, he hasn't been WWE champion in almost 2 years. It's gonna be up. It's gonna be a huge moment.
Let's keep it that way.
So I think that is a moment worthy of WrestleMania or SummerSlam. So we'll see.
Another note on that, I was very upset about how they handled Edge. He should have won.
Well,
I think they played him too long.
Actually,
personally.
that is a very good point. I think the return of Edge was amazing. He looked absolutely phenomenal.
He looked
And-
old.
He looked very
No,
old.
no,
for,
no,
but
no.
for how old he looked,
No,
he
looked
wrestled
old
really
in
well.
the face, but like
It's
this,
bad
He
in
was
the
moving
face.
well.
this dude is ripped, bro. And
Yeah.
I honestly, in my mind, I saw him as a slight chance to actually win. That's how great he looked. And Steve, I gotta say, there hasn't been many things, especially on Raw or SmackDown, anything WWE, not NXT, that I've actually liked. And I gotta tell you, I absolutely love this angle with Edge and Randy Orton. I think this is the money angle. This is exactly where they needed to go, and this is what is best for business.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen when I was watching it on Monday. It was awesome.
When was the last time you saw a
Yeah.
chair shot to the head? I mean, a concerto on TV on Raw
That was
between
crazy.
Orton and Edge. We haven't seen that in years.
And it was a good callback to what they used to do as rated RKO. I thought that was pretty sick. And Edge also cut a fantastic promo.
He did.
Randy Orton, him as well.
It was very Daniel Bryan-esque, especially
Yeah.
when he came back. And I just
They're very similar situations.
very similar. And Edge, I could see him, in a main title hunt.
Mhm.
I don't know how long he's going to stay around, but this guy, he looked amazing.
Well, the whole thing that even is more remarkable with Edge is that Daniel Bryan, we're just talking about him, he won the championship, retired, came back, and he won the championship again, all in like 3 less years than Edge did it coming back from
Mhm.
the same, arguably like the same injury. It's just crazy to see what the guy came back from, and it makes Daniel Bryan's
I mean,
career
Daniel Bryan
even
is
more
such
impressive.
a likable character, especially after this whole Yes Movement thing. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. He's, for the last, 5-6 years, he's been amazing.
Yeah.
And when you really look at Edge and how he kind of left the company, it was sad the way it happened, but he was kind of stale towards the end.
Well, yeah, his last match, you never wanted his last match to be at WrestleMania against Alberto Del Rio.
No, he didn't.
So we'll leave it at that. Let's move on to our questions. Our first question comes from PK Patel. We only got 3 questions today, so we'll be quick. Could Patrick Mahomes withstand the challenges of Pablo's QB camp, aka Summer QB camp?
I'm going to tell you what, I've been lucky enough to have gone through 2 academies, and that was probably the toughest challenge of my life. That was just ridiculous. The conditions were horrid. It was
What does that have to
freezing.
do with Patrick Mahomes?
I just don't think he could handle the heat. I just don't think
He'd throw a ball at your
could-
head and knock you out.
You think you could catch a pass from Patrick Mahomes?
Absolutely.
I don't
Out of
think
10
so.
passes, he throws it from about 20 yards away.
Yes.
10 yards away.
I'm not going to speak anymore on this. Yes.
Could you catch him with one hand?
Absolutely. I could catch him with
With
one
no
hand
hands.
tied behind my back, blindfolded.
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite prop bet for Super Bowl Sunday? That one comes from Tarek Alkassi.
I think, I was like thinking about previous years, what I did. And last year I took a very big mistake. And what I did was I took the under in the national anthem.
Never.
And
Never to.
first of all, never take the under. Second of all, just don't take the under in general. If you take the under in any sports betting,
Life's too short to take.
you're
the under,
trying
man.
to watch the world burn if you take an under. You want a shitty game. You want to watch people that don't have their best games, don't score many points. What are you doing if you root for an under? It's like the worst thing ever. Hammer, Demi Lovato, over. That is my favorite.
Favorite prop bet of Super Bowl weekend. I have from an inside source. A little birdie told me that the Gatorade color will be purple. This
Come
year.
Purple.
on. You
Really?
stole
It's
mine.
purple,
You
yeah.
Who
stole
told
mine.
you that?
Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry
I
about
can't
it.
give up
It's
my
purple.
sources on air. Come on, man.
It's not going to
How
be.
do you know
100%. Bet
Don't
the
worry
house
about
on
it.
purple.
Yo, why would it?
Inside source.
Okay, well, last year a little birdie
No,
had an
that-
inside source and didn't tell anybody.
No, I told you all it was
Nope.
going to be blue. It was
Nobody
plus
told me
750.
the Gatorade was going to be blue.
Easy
and guess
money.
what? I bet orange. That's my favorite prop bet. And if it's purple, hammer purple. That's
Hammer
your
purple.
inside.
It's purple.
I'm going to tell
It's
you right
purple.
now, that was actually my favorite prop
There
bet,
we
which
go.
is funny. I'm going with the red. I just
No.
You just said
I know.
you just said he
I
had
know what
inside
Z's
info.
is.
That inside
he has
info
little
is BS.
Dude,
flip
I'm want to
action.
know my
If you had
inside info.
everybody would have inside info. This is come on, bro. You think
Not
you're the
everybody
only one?
has my source. How dare you say that?
Come on.
Yeah.
It's my source, not
Come
your
on,
source,
purple?
not the
It's
world's
our
source.
source. I have the
Purple?
source
We're going
too.
with purple.
Purple.
Hey, if you bet
It-
purple, make money.
It is
shout us
purple.
out.
Last year I had the
If the
blue
Gatorade
source.
color is purple, we are changing before
Wait.
the score to purple.
The-
Okay, maybe not, but
No.
Wait,
maybe we
wait.
should.
I have a question, but like,
Don't
what are
worry about the
what-
source.
No, what are the odds for the Gatorade colors?
You know what they did? So my
They did,
source was
like,
telling me about this.
Any other
So-
color.
This person bet purple because they had the inside source, and it was like plus like 12 or 1,500. And then he checked later that day, it went down to plus 750. And then he checked again later that day, and they took it off.
Unbelievable.
It's
If
not,
they,
it's not going to
if
be
they see
purple.
enough people like betting it opposed to the other colors, they'll take it off.
Yeah,
If they
because they think
that
something's
people know.
fishy.
It's going to be
Well,
red.
that's because it's inside.
This person said, this person said
I
that
always
they
thought,
shipped
like-
a lot
I
of
always
purple
thought, like,
Gatorade to Miami.
If you can bet on that stuff and you work for like in that stadium and you know what color it's going to be, you can win some money.
Of
You
course.
you like text someone and
That's
put a lot
fraud.
of money on that.
That's what happens in horse racing all
I
the
know.
time.
It's crazy.
Go to the Monmouth racetrack. Talk to anybody
Always
who works
fixed.
there. They give you an inside tip. Bet the house on it.
It's going to be purple.
Worked for
I
me a
mean, it's
couple
not going to be
times.
purple. It's going to be red. Now you guys got
Nah,
me thinking.
that's your
loony.
favorite red? That's not going to even happen.
Look,
Pick a different
Look,
one.
Both teams are red. They're not.
green.
It's not going to be
The
red.
green's my
It's too
favorite
much
color.
red.
They do not have green Gatorade.
They have yellow.
It's like yellow.
It's like a
You
shamrock
look at any other
shaped
prop
Gatorade.
bets. My boy W, my boy W
Dubs.
said, Dub said missed field goal. That's his favorite prop bet. I could see that happening.
Well, actually,
I don't know. These
a
are
good
two really good field goal.
Two very
kickers.
good.
A good
Robbie
prop bet?
Gould,
I like Bucker a little more.
Harrison Butker, probably the
yeah.
worst name in football.
I like
You
the
love the Buckman.
Harrison Butker's a huge.
But there's going to be a lot of drives that go to like the 40-yard line, 35-yard line. They got to kick. They might
Robbie
miss
Gould
it
hasn't missed a
outside
field
in
goal
Miami.
like 10 weeks.
I
He's
like-
old as hell.
I like
He's
this.
gonna miss
I
one.
like the safety prop bet because
Safety.
That doesn't happen in the Super Bowl. It happened twice in the last
Happened
like
to the
20
Broncos.
Super
Yeah,
Bowls.
it
did happen to
And
the
the
Broncos.
Giants.
exactly. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen. That's why it's a prop
So
bet.
why are you taking it if it doesn't
Because
You're throwing away money.
okay,
man.
all right. So I know this has nothing to do with it, but they have prop bets for every sport. They had a prop bet for the MLB playoffs. Now,
Yes, you're being
Oh, for steal a base,
Okay.
steal a taco.
no. Okay, all right. So
happen?
I remember this because
groundbreaking.
I was
right
at, I was at Longhorn Steakhouse a few months back with my parents,
There we
and
go.
I remember looking at the phone and it was like the odds were ridiculous for like a grand slam in the playoffs. And I look at my dad, I'm like, grand slam in the playoffs, like
Easy.
this could happen, but I don't know. I'm not going to do it because it probably won't happen. The next day, Didi Gregorius hits a grand slam. It's these things you never know. That's why it's called betting.
That's why you're mush, because you didn't bet on it.
Yeah,
That's why it's called betting.
Mush. I want to take the Niners.
Besides
Mush.
that Winnipeg Jets bet, what is the last bet you've won?
And after he did that, he bet again on Jets versus Leafs and lost.
I'm going to
that
tell you
bet
what.
with me.
I take a lot of bets on myself, and a lot of times it doesn't go the right way.
Most
but
of the
You
time.
think?
I think this weekend, especially starting today, I'm feeling lucky. You get what
I
I'm
hope
saying?
so.
You
Think
better
you're
have a
gonna
good
get
week.
Hot at the right time.
I'm starting to get hot.
All right, so send us your best Super Bowl prop bets. Our final question comes from Dave Stolte. Where do the Chiefs and Niners rank among recent Super Bowl teams? He says that the 2016 Atlanta Falcons would smoke these two.
I don't know, but actually, I might agree with that. I think that 2016 I love that 2016 Falcons team. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. Picked them to win the Super Bowl in like November that year. They broke my heart with that 28-3 because I hate the Patriots. It was heartbreaking watching the Patriots come back from 28-3. So I think I think I'd pick the Falcons to beat either of these teams.
So if the Falcons were playing, if the game was 2.5 quarters, then yeah, the Falcons. But it's not 2.5 quarters. It's a
Could it be-
4-quarter
could it be
game.
Kyle Shannon versus Kyle Shannon.
Yeah, that's true. You have to clone him or
You
something.
could do that.
I think both teams are better than that Falcons team, which was a good team for 2.5 quarters.
I think these are two of the best teams in recent Super Bowl memory. They're definitely better than the teams in like I think the last 3 or 4 Super Bowls. The best teams that stick out to my memory in the last couple of years, it has to be these two, that Falcons team, and I really loved that Carolina Panthers team,
Yeah.
Super Bowl 50. That team was amazing. I would probably put the Falcons as I think this 49ers team is the best team we've seen in a long time to make a Super Bowl. I would put them out of those 4. I put them number 1. I would probably put the Falcons team number 2, then that Panthers team, and then the Chiefs.
That Eagles team was good too. I mean, they were the best team in football before Wentz got hurt.
Well,
And
that
then
roster was
the way
ridiculous.
that roster outside of quarterback, and even Nick Foles was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Well,
So, I
also
mean,
that year, that Patriots
that,
team was
yeah,
amazing.
I know
too.
that Patriots team was amazing, and they beat them.
So both those teams, that was probably that was a great matchup
We've seen
too.
besides
so.
like last year, we've seen some really damn good teams. Even last year's
Yeah.
Patriots team was really good. They're just boring.
Yeah, that Broncos team, it was goofy, but man, that
Yeah.
defense, that was fire.
Well, that defense was elite, and the year before that, the offense set so many records and everything. When they lost that Super Bowl, the offense was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually really like that Falcons team, and I kind of do wish that they won. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, the running back, combination was outstanding, and I think we're gonna get a good game regardless. So, it really doesn't matter. But that team was really amazing.
Well, if that Falcons team ended up winning the Super Bowl, I think that would be in the conversation for best teams of all time.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that season was
if they blew
ridiculous.
out the Patriots and didn't blow, let's say they won like 35-10 or whatever, that would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and maybe they would have a better year the next year. I think that loss is Super Bowl just killed
Kyle
them.
Shanahan still would have left. So.
Yes, I get that, but there'd be more confidence. More players would want to stay on the team and everything.
If they won the Super Bowl, definitely morale would have been better than
yeah.
next
100%.
year.
It was
Yeah.
heartbreaking to play the next year after you blew that lead in the Super Bowl.
It was like a curse almost. So that's all the questions we got for today. Only 3. Send us more questions next week. Come on, guys, you're slacking. But we're gonna play the game here on Before the Score. It's
roll the
what's
dice.
in
Game
the
without a
cards.
name.
Game without a name.
All right, so I'll do the flip. What is the worst team uniform design in any sport?
Oh, jeez.
All right, well, Dan, I started last week, so you gotta start this week.
I got to start this week, so I have 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get the clock out here.
Ooh, worst. That's a good one.
I have one.
Not
It's not my turn.
All right, I'm going to start here. And I might be a little biased here, but looking at the Green Bay Packers uniforms, they haven't changed for the last 50 years. They've had the same G logo, which has been terrible. Georgia uses it. Grambling State uses it. It's a block G. It needs to change. It's ugly. They got to change it up. The white uniforms that they wear are disgusting. Like the mesh, it's just awful. The green and yellow, I'm done with it. It doesn't go together. Those two colors are ugly. I hate the Packers. I'm sorry. I might be a little biased, but those uniforms are disgusting and need to be changed.
That is a shocker. A lot of people love those
Yeah,
Packers.
those are
They're
considered
gross.
one of the best uniforms
Yeah.
in classics.
They're gross.
Logo, I hear you, but I mean it's been around.
It's
so
been
long.
the same thing. The mesh is
But
it's terrible.
they live off their history and their culture, so they don't want to change.
They have
that.
good history
Interesting.
50 years ago. Congratulations.
All right, Andrew.
I think the worst. I think it's easy for me. I mean, I can't name. I mean, there's probably some other ones that would challenge it, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I hate those uniforms, man. With the digital clock numbers, that color scheme. Sorry, I took your pick.
Yeah, that was my pick. I'm
the
making a face.
the doo-doo brown, the red, doesn't look good. I mean, if Jameis wasn't wearing that, then I'd hate it a lot more. But gotta rep my boy Jameis. They just look disgusting, and plus they're in Tampa Bay, Florida, which is gross to begin with.
Shout out Jameis, most touchdowns, most passing yards, most interceptions
Elite.
this year. Elite.
Okay, Zonak. You forget that you're part of this
No,
part.
Yeah,
Are you gonna run down a ski slope this time?
Yeah,
No,
run down the
no,
ski slope and
no,
hit
no.
start.
All right, so Zonak,
Uh,
which is the worst
I was
uniforms?
just looking it up. I want it to be a little different. And dude, the 2009 Denver Broncos throwback jerseys are
You're
disgusting.
talking about throwback
Throwback
jerseys, man.
jerseys.
Come on.
They're
That was
fucking
really
disgusting.
specific.
I just
Explain
looked it
them,
up.
explain
No,
Dude,
the
it's
Eagles,
like-
No, that's-
1930s.
You're talking about the
blue and
doo-doo
yellow.
brown and yellow ones.
It's like yellow black with
Yeah.
yellow socks, dude. That's disgusting.
They don't wear them every day.
Off the top
No,
of your head,
I'm just saying.
current team.
All right.
Browns.
Cleveland Browns. Okay,
That's actually a really
They've
good
got
pick.
better. They've got better from
Yeah.
what they were. A
I
couple
like
years
the
ago.
old ones a lot better. They were funny.
Nah, they were
The
ugly.
Cleveland Browns.
The color of the helmet was
Oh,
bad.
so funny.
They look
All right,
disgusting.
Pablo, you're up.
All right. So when you talk about the ugliest jerseys, you got to go with the Miami Marlins. Jesus, these jerseys are so
Yeah.
plain. They're
They
so
change
ugly.
them every year too.
Bro, it makes no sense. All right.
Stupid M.
All right. Okay. All right. Stop interrupting me right now.
Go,
because this is my
I'll
time.
give you an extra 10 seconds.
Okay. So when you look at the Marlins, right? Number one, their logo sucks. Their logo is unoriginal. Their old Florida Marlins logo was amazing. Everything about them, the color, the teal, the pinstripes, geez, everything was great about them. Now, when you look at this uniform, it sucks. Why can't they just take the Miami Vice color wave and go with the pink and the teal, or
Like with the Heat, though, yeah.
like with the Heat do? I think that is what is best for this organization.
All right.
all
You
right.
figure out one?
Well, Andrew screwed me over with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because that's everybody knows that's my least favorite one in all of sports.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a little different and think of one from a different sport, but I couldn't really come up with one, so I got mine.
You ready?
Oh, you can start by
yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
All right. The worst uniforms in all of sports are the Indianapolis Colts uniforms.
Wow.
They're just
Really?
straight up Blue
very
and white.
boring,
They're
yeah.
very boring. They don't even have an alternate uniform.
Yeah.
The
Logo
India-
boring.
It's just completely a boring, plain, vanilla franchise that it just doesn't inspire anything. I just can't get behind it when I'm watching them on TV. They don't really match up well aesthetically with the other teams.
Yeah.
Like they
Just a
basically
block blow.
stole the Giants' blue uniform. It doesn't do it for me.
Sorry, Jose. Yeah, it's like they're trying to cling on to like a traditional look, but they don't really have like a storied history
Yeah, and they've been
outside
to
of
two-
Peyton Manning.
And before Peyton Manning, they
One
were
of the worst franchises
Baltimore
in football.
Colts.
I know.
So you think it's a
So-
bad buy that he bought an Andrew Luck?
I'm
Colts
sorry,
jersey?
Z, but Colts jerseys are just
They're
not
lucky
the
they've
wave.
had some
Well,
good quarterbacks.
They're lucky they had Peyton Manning because he was able to sell so many Colts jerseys. Their white jerseys I like better than their blue jerseys, but they're just plain and ugly, and I
Yeah.
wish that they were like
I hate white helmets
yeah.
too.
Do you know what
White
was-
helmets are ugly.
Do you know
Jets
what?
old
I
helmets,
hated their old
Chargers helmets. It's not
Chargers
good
helmets.
looking.
Yeah.
Second
I
to the
hate those
Marlins, in my
helmets.
opinion, would be the Detroit Tigers. Oh my God, those.
I actually
I was
love
gonna.
the Tigers.
I was gonna.
uniforms.
I
I
actually
hate
do
'em.
like the Tigers a lot.
Yeah,
I was
I
gonna
hate
say. I was gonna say the Giants red jerseys, but
They
that
don't-
would
That's
cause
like
a
Z
ruckus.
going
I
specifically.
love
10
the
years
I love
ago.
the Giants normal blue. It's traditional. I hate that red jersey, man.
Another contender. I hate the Browns home uniforms
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
with
disgusting.
Cleveland splattered on top.
Yeah.
It just. I'm
I
glad
hate-
they're
I
getting new
hate how
uniforms.
Well, they
I
just
hate how
don't have a
Nike
logo.
did that. I hate how Nike did that with the Browns and the Jets.
It's like
I
we
hate,
get it.
like,
you're
we
from
get it
New
where they're
York.
from, and the
Yeah.
Jets don't even play New York.
It looks
They're
like a
New York
college
guys.
team.
I
Stupid,
hate the
know.
Nets jersey with the Bed-Stuy. I think it looks corny.
I
Too.
do- I do
with the
kinda like
Jets,
that.
Hey, Biggie was a Knicks fan.
Who cares,
Biggie
bro?
was a Knicks
Bed-Stuy.
fan.
It doesn't make sense. They don't even play in Bed-Stuy.
With the Jets, I like how they changed their logo, but the green, I liked it a little darker than the lighter what they have.
It
now.
depends. The green.
actually
It
like the
depends on
green.
it depends on the lighting. It looks good a lot of times. I hate the New York cross it. The helmets look really good. I think they could have done a lot more with the
They
logo. I
look
think
like
the
the
logo.
Eagles,
A
bro.
logo.
I
The
like
logo-
it with the jet.
You
Like,
thought
that
a whole
looks-
new
the
logo was
logo-
coming. You got the same
I know.
thing.
So
it's
it was
just
really
New York.
disappointing the way that they talked about it. But I mean, I like the uniforms as a
the
whole. are
black
fine.
jerseys are really nice.
Yeah.
Well-
I like the black jerseys a lot.
Let's flip this real quick before we end the show. What is the best team uniform design in any sport?
I already got mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's,
I
Please don't say
let's-
anything besides the Yankees.
let's go backwards. I'll start with the best team uniform in any sport. Honestly, I think the best uniform any sport. Wow, that's That's a lot. you know, off the top of my head, I love the Raiders uniforms.
Yeah.
I think their uniforms are perfect. As much as I hate them, the Cowboys uniforms are really nice. And if I had to pick another sport, I think that the Golden State Warriors or the Los Angeles Lakers.
I was
uniforms
just
are
about to
really
say
good.
the Lakers. I really like the Lakers a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like iconic, and like with the Packers, I was saying that's not iconic. It's just ugly. The Lakers have iconic purple and gold. It's those are really nice. I'll think of one more.
Well,
But someone can-
I'm not gonna go the easy way and say the New York Yankees. I honestly really like the Chargers uniform.
powder blue?
Powder blue.
The
or
powder
purple?
blue, the
Okay,
powder
good.
blue with the yellow, is
Yeah.
sick, bro. Honestly, I wish that more teams would adopt that.
If the Chargers had nicer helmets, I'd go that. I think probably. Honestly, I don't like the team, but Toronto Maple Leafs, I love their jerseys.
Yeah.
I love the blue and white there.
Hockey uniforms are beautiful.
Yeah, there's
I
some
was
really
just about
nice
to say
hockey
my
uniforms.
favorite hockey uniform is Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
They used to have it might have been like NHL 13 or 14 we used to play, but they had the black uniforms.
The black are actually
The
pretty
black
cool.
were insanely nice, but the red is really nice too.
Yeah.
I like those a lot.
Yeah, definitely one of the best
I
and
think-
legendary logos
yeah.
in sports. All the original 6 teams in hockey have
Oh, yeah.
amazing uniforms.
I think NHL has the best
I
uniforms.
mean-
Oh yeah, by far.
Even the old NBA too. I mean, when you look at the old Orlando Magic, their old uniforms were
Yeah.
sick.
Oh, when Shaq was on, like back in
Yes,
Penny Hardaway and
that's-
Shaq, those
that is
those
sick.
uniforms. Are
Only
nice.
thing with the NBA is they have so many different uniforms
It's
now. The
ridiculous.
Magic
Yeah,
are wearing
yeah.
orange. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you got to condense it a little bit.
It's kind of cool though. I kind of wish
It's
that
just a lot.
I kind of wish that other sports did that.
Well, the NBA, what they do is they have their home, their away, alternative. They have like the
Christmas.
like what is it like the Miami Vice? What did
Mi-
all the teams
well,
do?
they
Like,
have-
those are fun.
when you make the playoffs, you get a special uniform made for you the next
Yeah.
year. But the Heat, they've made the playoffs 3 years in a row. They've got a same variation of the same uniform.
yeah, well,
3
so
years in
you
a
get
row.
Wait,
you get
that-
that
that's a thing?
uniform.
Yeah, they do it. I think it's called the state.
Then you got
uniform.
the Houston Rockets do like the Chinese uniforms or
Yeah.
whatever. Like
I hate that.
I
Yeah.
didn't like the Los Mets or like what was
the
it?
Los,
The,
yeah, the Los
The Los Mets were orange.
Wait,
yeah, I didn't really like.
as a
those.
Mets fan, do you miss the black?
I
Yes,
was
100%.
just gonna say, what are you guys' thoughts on the
Bring
black
it
jerseys?
back. Pete Alonso's calling for
One
it.
100% they should bring it back.
They definitely
That should
should.
not be. They shouldn't wear it regularly, but I think like once a week.
It just
once every
sucked
other
that we
week.
saw so many bad years
It was
after
sick.
they made the
Well, the
championship
latest
with
breaking
them.
uniform news is the Pirates came out with new
Yeah.
Oh,
alternate
they're
uniforms.
sick.
They look really nice.
They're sick.
The Blue Jays were nice. Diamondbacks Interesting.
My biggest
I'm not a big
demand,
fan of Diamondbacks.
I don't know.
my
They're-
biggest
they're-
demand
they're
in
odd.
Major League Baseball, aside from the other big things, I think there should be more attention to these uniforms, and I think that's a great way to draw in.
Yeah, I was gonna say the MLB probably has the least like variations, and
Yeah.
and NFL too. A lot of teams don't even have like outside of the color rush, they don't have like throwbacks
Yeah.
really. MLB, they should. I like the powder blues a lot for like the Phillies and Cardinals.
Yeah,
I
but
love
every
those
team has them.
uniforms.
I like.
Every
I
team
think they look
has them,
nice, but
but-
every team has them.
I
That's
know.
my only
Yeah.
problem.
I think J-Mob has
J-Mob
the
has the best,
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's all we got for Before the Score
Oh
episode
wait, we got to
8.
vote. We got to vote who won.
Oh, yeah, we got to vote. We
All right.
got too deep into our uniform.
Yeah, I know.
discussion.
Sorry, Paul. We got to vote for who had the best
Best,
Uniform.
worst
uniform. We got to
Do you
declare a
remember what we
winner.
said?
we've said so much.
All right, wait. You go ahead. You say yours.
All right. Zonak, you're out because you picked a specific ass uniform.
Oh no. What was yours?
The one that
Oh,
the
we're saying who it
Flyers?
was?
No. What
Pick the
was yours?
Philadelphia Flyers.
Those are
Oh,
those are
Tarek.
kind of
Those
nice.
those are nice.
Well,
Tarek,
what's the one
give
that
him-
you
give him an
picked? Just to
earful.
remind Pablo.
Okay, I picked for the worst uniform
Yeah, worst
design
uniform.
is Indianapolis Colts.
Colts. I picked the Packers, and you
Like
picked
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. So that's what you have to choose from.
Colts, Packers,
I
Buccaneers.
think the Colts are just so plain.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you go Colts.
I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers because that was my original pick.
Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with the Marlins.
Thank you,
Wait, Pablo, who'd you pick?
Marlins.
Marlins. Marlins.
I win.
Well, Zonak.
Only
who do
because they
you
just
pick?
changed them to gross.
It's not like doesn't.
Buccaneers,
Colts,
Buccaneers,
Buccaneers.
Packers, Colts, Marlins. Which one do you think are the ugliest?
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Rock paper
Tie.
scissors.
Why are you
Winner
always
gets it.
opposite?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot,
Wait, and shoe or shoe?
and shoot.
Rock,
Rock,
paper, scissors, and shoot. Ah.
Yeah, you went halfway. You went.
So the winner of the ugliest team uniform design in any sport, Miami Marlins.
Marlins.
Congrats. Before the Score episode 8, our Super Bowl special. Be sure to let us know if we got our picks right or not. I'm going with the Niners.
Oh, Chiefs, baby.
Niners, baby. You hear that, Jared?
I'm going with the Chiefs, and all I have to say is episode 8 is going to be dedicated to none other than Mr. Number 8, Mr. Number 24, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, couldn't have been more perfect that timing.
R.I.P. Kobe.